Hey guys, and welcome to yet another week of my True Rehab videos and my 7 diets in 7 weeks. So this is the end of week 5. We're getting closer to the 7 weeks. I have to say I'm kind of looking glad to that with my body going through a whole heap of different phases over the last few weeks. But this week I think was always going to be, and it certainly turned out to be, my biggest challenge. Week 5 was going on a juice diet. So we hear of all of these juice detoxes and wonder juices that you can go on for 7 days, 10 days, 30 days, 60-day type challenges to kind of completely detox and cleanse the system of our impurities before going on to some form of regulated diet as well. So I got the idea to incorporate this one from a documentary I watched on Netflix not long ago called Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. And there's two of those ones. There was a follow-up documentary because the first one was so popular. It was by a guy named Joe Cross. He was an Australian executive who was 40 plus years of age, living a typical kind of executive's lifestyle, with a lot of travel, a lot of dinners with clients, and had massively stacked on quite a few kilos and had some skin conditions, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. He was on the verge of type 2 diabetes and all of those kind of things that I guess we see with the lifestyle type diseases and issues coming up in these days. And he basically kind of removed himself from all foods and basically only drank vegetables and juices for 60 days. And he documented that and turned it into a documentary, mini TV movie series. And it became extremely well received around the world just from the huge amounts of, improvements he saw throughout his 60 days on this juice detox diet. And more importantly, he inspired a lot of people to kind of make a change in their, their healthy or their kind of daily habits. And so I guess that's where I got the idea to kind of incorporate some sort of, juice or detox type juice diet. And this one kind of spoke to me mostly just due to the kind of, improvements that he did see over the 60 days of his one. Of course, I was only doing it for the 7 days. So I guess the diet this week, I knew I was never going to come close to kind of completing this if it was only going to be fruit and vegetable in juices. So I kind of incorporated his kind of post 60-day juices that included some smoothies. So I was going to get some nuts and some milk and things like that within some of the drinks. So it made it slightly easier to be able to complete this one. But that said, I only got to Thursday lunchtime on this, and I completed a workout on Thursday lunchtime, and I was in a world of hurt. I didn't even know who I was or where I was, and I couldn't think straight. I was very lethargic, and I was having trouble to kind of even keep my eyes open. I was falling asleep almost every single night on this diet. So it was a really tough week this week, and one that I'm very much glad to see the end of. So I guess let's go through the Adam's top 5, and let's kind of really kind of pull this one apart and this week apart. So number 1, how did I feel? For the first day or two or so, it wasn't too bad, to be honest. I had some really interesting juices with the app that I kind of downloaded through Joe Cross's website. It had some 101 juices and 101 smoothies. And I came across some really interesting juices and some that I posted on my Instagram this week that were of particular interest and likes to myself. And so one of them was a macadamia nut, raspberry, banana, coconut oil and salt smoothie. And that was delicious. And my favourite juice this week was either the one that had the grapefruit, orange, basil and fennel, or the kiwi fruit, apple and celery one. Both of those were really nice juices as well. So in the beginning, as I said, I felt fine. It wasn't too difficult to kind of maintain only eating, drinking juices and smoothies for the first few days. But as I said, probably I reckon Wednesday, I was really beginning to struggle on that. And on Thursday, I cracked. I couldn't keep going with it. So that was certainly a very well-received meal of mine, I would say, comes Thursday lunchtime. As I said, I've always said I'd be honest in this, and there was no way I was going to make the end of the week on this one. So Thursday I cracked, and then Saturday night I went out for dinner with my wife because she just returned from her week away at work. So we went out for dinner, and it certainly was always going to win out when we were going to choose, well, do we have a juice for dinner tonight or we go out for dinner together? So dinner won out on that one. But I pretty much followed it to the T on the rest of them. And then there's my lovely wife there. So we've just come from dinner from her parents' place. So there was definitely no juices attached to our Sunday night dinner at her parents' house. But as I said, in the beginning I felt okay, but by kind of Wednesday I was flat on my feet. There was no way I was going to continue on with this one. Number 2, did I like the diet? In a nutshell, no. I would never recommend doing a juice detox diet. As I said, wholesome foods are always the way to go, and a kind of variety of different foods, and kind of juicing them all up certainly isn't what I would go for. So did I like it? Not particularly. It was never going to fulfill my calorific needs. And yeah, it was just not something that I would kind of go long-term at all for. So, and how easy was it to follow? Well, to follow a juice diet, it's actually pretty simple to do. You obviously just get your fruits and vegetables that you need, juice them up and drink them. So it's quite a very, it's quite a simple thing to do, but in regards to kind of being able to do it and actually follow it, it's very difficult. Now, there may be other people out there that live a more sedentary lifestyle than I do, that might not require so many, I guess, caloric output to kind of then have to kind of put that back in some way, shape or form. But for me, it was easy to follow, but difficult to kind of actually do in the real world. So that was always going to be a difficult one for me. So was it costly? Well, like all the other ones, that have kind of eliminated whole food groups or things like that. Obviously in this one I had no protein, there was no kind of breads and cereals in any of it, so it was actually quite a cheap diet. Just went to the market on Sunday, got a whole heap of vegetables and fruits, some nuts, got some almond milk, and pretty much that was about all I needed. So it was quite a cheap way of going as well. And then finally, as I always say, would I recommend it? And the juice diets out there, guys, I just don't go for them. As I've always said, just get good, wholesome whole foods. If you want to go down the route of kind of putting more fruits and vegetables in your diet, week 2, the vegetarian diet, I'd go that way. There's no need to kind of put it into a juice and only consume juices. And that's something I did want to bring up on this, because I guess there's been an increase in some of these, I guess, extraction type juices that we have out there, and so I guess the main one we do see is the NutriBullet, and it's funny because you do see them say on these ads that they extract and give us more readily available and highly absorbed nutrients, and you hear these kind of comments and you just kind of laugh them off, thinking that there's no way some blade just extracts the nutrients and makes them easier for our body to absorb. But I did a little bit of reading and research into this, and it was quite interesting to find out that it actually does extract nutrients better, but ironically, actually extracting them and making them more readily available is actually not good for us, because when we consume that juice as an already kind of, I guess, semi-digested food, and we drink that juice, our body passes it through the small and large intestines so quickly that we actually don't absorb a lot of the nutrients that we would normally have got from them if we were eating them. So if you're having a juice, apple and ginger juice, those kind of great nutrients and kind of things that you can get out of some beautiful fruits and veggies and I guess things like ginger and that I've mentioned, you just don't get the nutrients out of it. So as I said, ironically, it's not good for you. So while they actually make the claim that it extracts it, they're telling the truth on that, but you actually don't get half of the nutrients that you are kind of extracting and having readily available for a body, because it's just passed through the system far too quickly. So that was certainly an interesting I guess, read and find that I found out this week. And it was kind of a question that quite a few people had asked me about when they heard I was doing the juice diet. Are some of the claims that these juices are making, are they kind of founded? And so that's what I went out and had a look at this week. So that's been the juice diet this week, guys. And as I said, one I would never recommend, and something I'm not going to kind of ever stick to again. But that said, I did find some beautiful juices, and I mentioned them before. And so on a Sunday morning, if I'm having breakfast at home, I might make one of those juices, and I've got no problems with that. But having juice as my sole source of food for the week, it's definitely something I would never do, and something I'd never recommend to clients of mine for a detox or a cleanse or anything like that. Getting good, wholesome whole foods will always be the way to go. And finally, next week. So next week we're kind of doing a spin on, I guess, what's become quite popular in the bodybuilding world, and it's starting to filter its way into I guess, mainstream dieting is what we call the IFM diet. So IIFYM, and that one stands for if it fits your macros. So we're kind of moving away from calorie counting and doing more kind of macro counting. And macros are your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats, and kind of working out how much you need and just hitting those numbers every day. And there's apps like MyFitnessPal and kind of macro counter and things like that you can find on the Apple Store. You put them on your phone and they're very easy to track these kind of things. And you can eat a sandwich with a salad and ham on it. You plug all that in and it'll tell you exactly how many carbohydrates, fats, and proteins you got. So we're going to be getting out the MyFitnessPal app next week. We're going to track everything that we eat, and I'm going to make sure I hit those numbers. And I'll kind of explain to you how to kind of work those numbers out, or how you would normally work them out, and what I've kind of found out that some of the best numbers to kind of start hitting, whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, or just do maintenance throughout your lifestyle. So IFM diet is next week, guys. If it fits your macros, stay tuned for the review next Sunday on that one. I've just released a new video series as well that's going to be starting area, so keep an eye out for that, and that's how to run a marathon in 2 days. Something I'm really passionate about, guys, getting everyone out there and running, so keep an eye out for that one. But if you've liked these videos, please like them, share them, and subscribe to my channel if this is the first time you've seen. Below is all the details you ever need if you do want to contact me, and I'll see you next week at the end of week 6. Thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for watching.